Bam.
Yeah, you're good.
Mike's for breakfast.
There you go. That sounds amazing.
Is that
That's
Conway?
all right. That's all good.
Is that Conway? Mike's for
What?
breakfast?
Nah, that's Sheik Sinan.
Oh, that's Sheik Sinan. Oh,
Run for
pardon me.
cover and hide the mics. You
Pardon me.
dig?
Sheikism.
Sheikism.
Sheikisms?
Tell them.
Sheikisms.
Yes.
You're gonna write the forward. I'm gonna write the intro. Intro by Mr.
Yeah, I gotta
Ransom.
get my. I gotta
And
get
all
my,
I was gonna say is
You don't have to worry. You're good.
all I was gonna say is peace. Like in quotations, peace.
We're good.
Dismissed.
We're rolling.
Mr. Ransom and the D.
Hit
All
him,
right.
hit him with your clapping
right?
intro, buddy. Let's go.
All right.
Hey, we just soldiers on a mission. Turn the volume up, tune in to the vision. Spitting every episode, ain't no skipping. Put your mans on, he ain't hear it, then he tripping. And you know you gotta listen to the Ransom Report. Hey, it's the Ransom Report. Said you know you gotta listen to the Ransom Report. It's the Ransom Report. Now what you thought? Yeah.
The Ransom Report. Powered by What's the Movement. As always, joined by the infamous laser beam Sheik Sinan, the venerable Sheik Sinan. I am Mr. Ransom. Yeah, we are here. This is the first Ransom remote, Sheik.
Absolutely. And don't forget to tell them wherever they at listening to us, we're dealing with some intellectual podcasting.
Yes, we are the podcast that provides you with intellectual entertainment experiences.
Facts.
This is a big episode for me on a lot of levels. Sheik, you and I have a relationship because of my dad, but we have our own relationship.
Absolutely.
But it was forged by my father, and you and my father called you a friend when
It was honed by your father and stroked by us.
facts.
Barber terms.
That's,
You did.
that's facts. But yeah, my father called you a friend, and he told me to
Absolutely.
He told me to listen to you and respect you because you had a lot of knowledge to impart. So that's one of the main reasons why I wanted you to be the co-host on this show.
I appreciate
One of the many reasons. I'm also here today with another man who I met through my father, and my father called a friend and had a lot of great times with, and had a lot of love and respect for him, and said the same things. Listen to him. He's got a lot of knowledge. He's been around the block. You can trust him. And my father has passed on, but he is still here. So to be able to sit down with two true Long Branch legends, it's an honor. I was telling them earlier, it's kind of like when Eddie Murphy met up with Red Fox and Richard Pryor in Harlem Nights. So without further ado, here we are reporting to you live from First Class Tattoo in Long Branch, New Jersey, with Master Sifu, the tattoo guru, George Morales. Sir, peace and blessings be unto you. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, and also peace and blessings be on to you
Yes,
and
sir.
Sheik, and thank you for
Thank you.
inviting me.
Oh, on behalf of the Sheik and I, we're happy to have you as a guest. All jokes aside.
Absolutely. Listen, Charles was very excited for this episode.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we'll get into some really good stuff and have some tasty treats for these people out here.
That will happen. On the way in, I actually was I thought about you and something we talked about years ago, because we were watching. You had one of those anime shows on, and it was like a cyborg, and you were like, "Man, they probably walking around right now." And I was like, "Really? You think so?" And he was like, "I think they're closer to it than you think." Lindsay, why don't you, if you can, cue up this video that I saw. I actually saw. This is a real man-made robot that they just made. This is like from a couple days ago. It's called America. They named the robot America, Sheik. Yeah,
Oh, I did see that.
check this out, Sheik.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, Will Smith degree.
They say she has her own intellect.
Hello, Amika.
Hello there.
How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Glad to hear. What is your name?
I'm Chris.
Chris.
Are you okay?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Are you okay if I shoot a video of you?
Absolutely.
So, Amika, what are you?
Amica is her name.
I'm a humanoid robot. I am designed as a research platform for human-robot interaction.
How many fingers am I holding up?
You are holding up 4 fingers. like your sweatshirt.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Humans love compliments.
Oh,
Hello, Amaka.
so her name is Amika, not America, and said humans love compliments. That's where we're at right now.
Hey, listen, that's the true fact.
That's funny to me.
We live in some spooky times.
Listen, there's more than one way to butter your bread, and when you butter somebody up, you'll get a lot more out of them than you will if you didn't.
What do you mean?
You gotta think. Everything you say and do is an action, and it causes a reaction. So when you're talking to someone and you got them feeling what you're talking about, they're gonna move on it, and they're gonna listen to you, and they're gonna interact with you, and they're gonna make their feelings known about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's the whole evolution of a conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as you go on speaking, you're learning, they're learning. They might have heard something that they didn't know.
That's what scares me.
Well,
That's what scares me. Do you think we should embrace something like that? What do you guys?
we have to. Now we're dealing with AI. We're dealing with stuff that just, you think it's just happening out of nowhere, but they got to pull it from somewhere. And the world is vast. They can grab it like this. We're searching for it on the computer. They already see it because they're in the matrix. All they got to do is mention it and it pops up because they know that in the thought. They don't even have to write it down. They are the matrix. You want to talk about speed thinking? It's way beyond what we couldn't even comprehend. But see, this is what the problem is.
Yeah.
What happens when they get smarter than us?
Aren't they already smarter than us?
Listen, you got to look and see. It's a dangerous thing that they're playing with right now, and I think they're going to use it to manipulate our existence, okay? And what I mean by that is you got to understand, once they learn what our real fear is, that's when they're going to be able to take over.
Oh, absolutely. And that's with anything. That's with anything and anybody.
And people aren't putting that knowledge to use right now. They just letting it fly. What happens when you let something just fly around? Eventually you're going to get shit on.
But it's scary to see it start to happen now, though, in like real time. I just want to know at what point do we separate fact from fiction? Like, okay, how powerful are they? How controlling can they be? Are we at a point now where we already don't have control, or they can easily take control? I don't know. It makes me nervous.
Well, you got to think. You got Elon Musk out here. Whenever the government needs some serious interaction, he can go up there, use one of his satellites, pick up any information from any part of this world whenever he wants. Okay? Now, if you ask me, when you have somebody with that much power, you got to understand that there's a danger behind power. Left unchecked, everybody's in danger. You know, you worried about nuclear bombs and this, that, and the other thing. That's not the real problem. Nuclear bombs, okay, it's out there, but you know what extent you have to go to actually go through the process of activating a nuclear bomb? This world's a dangerous place just by itself without adding all that extra threat to it. My thing is, the people with the power behind those things, they got to realize there's a whole population of people out here in the whole world, you know? And everybody's got a right to live. Nobody should have that choice for any living being. See, but one thing is that people don't realize that we have addicts that are addicted to this stuff. When you shut that down, you can't even imagine how many people are going to be breaking down.
I got to jump in this real quick. Have any of you ever seen the show Revolution? It was cut off TV at least probably about 12 years ago.
No, I'm not familiar with it.
I don't want to say I'm a
Revolution?
It's called Revolution.
Okay.
They cut it off halfway through the second season. In my opinion, it's because they were telling us too much. It basically is about the apocalypse, and what it is that the power shuts down. A flip gets switched, all power shuts down, cars stop working, planes fall out of the sky. It kicks to 15 years later. Everybody's horse and buggy, There's federations. All of a sudden, the Illuminati play in, and our government has been hiding in Cuba the entire time and comes back to America to then take back over.
Hiding in Cuba?
Cuba, mind you, this was prior to us in Cuba reconciling this show. And they cut it off mid-season.
Definitely not going to be Cuba.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's Cuba, but I'm saying just what they were telling us with the power being cut off. And like, I feel like that stuff's very much in a lot of people's, all of our faces, and people want to ignore it.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that control is the number one mover of the world, and who controls what, who controls how much. I don't know if it's on this, like a Illuminati. Actually, George, we just spoke about this on Friday, the Illuminati discussion. It's like I don't know if that's,
You asked me what the Illuminati was.
I did ask.
The Illuminati was more of a cult thing. Okay. And it was basically just a bunch of rich people having a little cult thing of knowledge of an assumption of a superior knowledge, but and honestly, it had nothing to do with that. Is you got to understand, the real knowledge and power that's out here is always going to be hidden from the mass majority because they don't have the intellect to understand what's really going on. The education system nowadays doesn't fill any of these kids. It's good for making good slaves. That's about it.
Yeah, we talked about this on another episode, yeah.
But further than that, listen, without having good slaves out here, this world does not run, okay?
Okay.
If you look at a pyramid, at the top of the pyramid, there's not a lot of space up there.
Okay.
Because everybody on the bottom elevates that top piece there, okay? And without everybody down here supporting that, it doesn't exist. We give it that power without even knowing it.
Yeah.
Because we hope that there's a higher power and a better understanding to keep this thing running.
Do you think that that's where religion comes in?
Religion didn't come out until they gave you the son of one of the Borgias, whatever, that they gave his image as Jesus.
Oh,
that
yeah,
face
yeah.
you see,
Michelangelo's.
that's not Jesus.
Yeah, it's one of Michelangelo's family, if I'm not mistaken. Could you look that up, Lindsay? Yeah, I think Michelangelo, like Jesus' image originally.
No, it was actually the Pope's son.
Oh, it's a Pope's son, yeah.
And like I said, as you retell a story, it changes over and over again. You know?
It's history is definitely.
Religion is testy because people have different opinions. Okay,
I agree.
But now you got to think, what happened before those religions it started? Okay,
That's
now
where the real question is.
when they came into the scene, it was like, okay, take what you want, but leave the rest as it is. Now, when you have businesses that came in and said, nah, we're going to take as much as we can, and when it's all gone, it's going to be worth more money because nobody else has it. We have it all.
It's like Monopoly.
The monopoly
It's
never
Monopoly.
ended. And never will.
The Sheik, what you just said reminded me of the Sheik, what you told me first episode 1. Take the best part for yourself and leave the rest of it alone. Like that's what he's saying applies to religion.
Take the best part for yourself is a lot different than trying to take everything. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Like what I'm getting from George's context is that people came and wanted it all. You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, yes.
And
There was no sharing.
there's always going to be people like that, and then there's always going to be people that are righteous. Like the dynamic of the culture of people. Unfortunately, you're always going to have those who want everything for themselves and want everybody to come get stuff from them. And then you're going to have people who know how to share and be equal in everything. Okay. You know what I mean? And to be equal, When I look at equality, I don't look at equality as, you know, I have some corn at my house and I got 10 pieces and I'm going to come give you 5. Like, that's not how I was taught equality manifests. I was taught that equality manifests, I got 10 pieces of corn at my house. I'll come to your house and I teach you how to grow your own corn. You may end up with 10,000 pieces of corn. You know, that's what equality is. Equality is taking 1, 2, and 3, putting them together and making 6.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, that's kind of like in the Bible. It says, "Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but teach a man a fish, you feed them for a lifetime."
Yeah, it's called each one teach one. You know,
Each one teach one.
Some people are gatekeepers and like to harbor. You know what I mean? And I've experienced that making music as a young man. I've experienced that as a barber. Anything that I've ever done, I've experienced that with the dogs. You know, some people just don't want to teach you everything, and that's respectful, because sometimes the game is to be sold, not told. There has to always be a return, but the return doesn't have to be something that you necessarily look for. Like, everything that I do for people, I don't do it because I'm looking for something to come back. But fortunately, the universal law is what I put in is what I'm gonna get out, so I don't have to look for my return. You know, but when you're dealing with business, sometimes you have to sell some things so that there is a return. You know, but there also has to be equality involved, which means I show you so you can do for yourself. Let me say this. So the gods have ciphers, right? So a cipher is basically when we come together for one common cause, to share information, to grow knowledge with each other, to make us better knowers as well as better speakers. Because in order to become a good speaker, you have to speak, right? And the science of becoming a good speaker is so that you can be a teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm taught that the duty of a civilized man is to teach knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, refinement, and not to be a savage in the pursuit of your own happiness. That's my duty as a person that belongs to the nation of gods and earths. That's my duty.
Like a lifetime.
Absolutely. Like, my duty is to teach. So anybody that ever been around me is always going to be able to say that about me, because it's a direct reflection of my culture. You know what I mean? I don't harbor nothing. I come to give it up so you can get better. At the same time, I get better. So going back into speaking about a cipher, you know, supreme mathematics is the first base of information that will be taught to you when you come into this nation. All right? Now, the 6th degree, or the 6th lesson in supreme mathematics, is equality. That definition, per se, of equality, each one teach one, is something that was commonly heard amongst the brothers, because it's one of the first things that you learn on paper in front of you what equality is. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like if you're in school and you get a book and you learn from that textbook. A lot of people are going to read the same stuff on the book, because the book has, the words don't change in the book, right? But eventually everybody will learn to express it different. That's where your fingerprint comes in. That's where wisdom comes in. Your ability to speak it, because I can ask you, what is knowledge? And you might say knowledge is the foundation. He might say knowledge is to listen. I might say knowledge is to look. All of those things are knowledge, but the way that we communicated it, or the wisdom, is what's different. So I say that to say this, to simplify it, because I don't want to get stuck in one place. I can't sit here and say there was one particular person that taught me that. That was something that I heard a lot as a 15-year-old young man, being amongst grown men that was teaching me how to be a man. But one thing that I would like to say for the people to hear is that the first control that you have to learn is self-control. You know what I mean? Before you can sit here and start thinking about somebody making robots and, you know, can robots think and will they overcome us and all of those things, you have to get self-control first. And it's something that a lot of people lack and they don't understand.
Self-control is a commodity.
Is the only control that you really ever have. It's the only control you have. You don't have control or precedent over your children. Like, you can talk to your children, you can scold them, you can put them on punishment, you can beat them till they bleed if you that type of individual. But at the end of the day, if they have the power of the mind to say, I don't give a fuck what you do to me, excuse my language.
Yeah, no.
I'm doing.
Sheik, this is open forum.
I'm saying, so always remember the true control that you have is of yourself. So learn that first and foremost, because a lot of people don't have it. And then you can start working your way outward. Everything starts inside, right? That's what God is at. Everything starts inside. You got to get the inside right first and then work your way into these other things that we're speaking about. You know what I mean? Start with the self-control first, and then you can worry about who's trying to control the world. Control you first before you worry about who's controlling everything. Because if you don't got that under control, that shit don't make no difference.
I agree. Felipe, you know what, Felipe?
So
you know what, Felipe? You're a real one, Felipe.
I love my brother. He's funny.
Yeah,
but
you know,
like
Felipe. You're.
yeah,
nah, he's a real one. Nah, he's a real. Nah, Felipe, you're a real one.
Nah,
You're a real one.
You can record me with
You're
this
a real one.
24 head. It's hot here.
That V12 engine was revving just now. Like
it's hot
that
here.
V12 in his cranium was revving right now.
That twin turbo.
He got that Lamborghini Diablo engine. Like
you can hear the air whistling. You heard me?
Like he got that Lamborghini V12 Diablo engine. But it's definitely
that's that laser beam. I got laser focus,
you do
man. Like,
you do have laser focus. So I didn't know that you are indoctrinated into the gods and the earths. I had no clue. For all these years that I knew you, I had no clue. How did that come about?
I was 12 years old at the time. My brother was actually one of the first Puerto Rican gods in Long Branch. He got his knowledge of self from Infinite Love Allah. And actually, he came by here the other day, man. I was building with that brother. Yeah, man, he's still around.
So you were 12 years old.
Yeah, 12 years old.
And your older brother?
I just wanted to learn. I wanted to learn more than what was being taught to me in these schools, man. These schools was lying to me a lot, man.
100%.
And you got to understand, I grew up in here in Long Branch. Both my parents were born in Puerto Rico. So in my house, it was totally different from in an American house because I was still living like a Puerto Rican from the island.
In
Ain't
the
nothing
house.
changed. Like, I had to go to school to learn English.
Inside the house.
Yeah, because I spoke Spanish fluently, and I still do.
Yeah, of course.
My thing is
Let me hear
that...
it.
Tú sabes lo que yo estoy diciendo. You know what I'm saying, bro.
Yo soy Dios. que tú eres.
Yo también, no me olvidó.
Paz.
Bueno.
But, you know, I mean, it is what it is. You know, when you first come here, luckily, that was something that I got to experience as a youth, because right now people are so caught up in all this electronics. Like you were speaking on robots earlier, just to get back on subject.
No. This is good. This is good.
But just to bring it back a little bit
Okay,
so you can better understand what I'm trying to explain to you.
Okay.
Is that it changed. It changed the way these people think out here. You know what I'm saying?
It made them more of like a herd mentality, a sheep
No,
mentality.
it made them think that whatever they needed to learn, they got to plug up their little instruments to find it out.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
They forgot how to read books. They forgot how to listen to their elders. They forgot how to better understand from learning from the past of your people, okay? And now when you're starting to get knowledge from somebody else who's not your people, they dictate your future. Because now you're learning something else that ain't got nothing to do with what you are.
They set you down their path, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay. So you...
And how about this? One thing that you're saying that I agree with, it's like the more information became at people's fingertips, I feel like the more fools were made.
Because they didn't retain the information that was given to them. They thought that every time they needed the information, they had to pluck it from something else.
I agree.
Now, not all information is the same. You can look for one source of information, and you'll have 5, 6 different ways of having an understanding about it. But if you didn't learn it from the actual teacher who made that lesson, you're only learning something that was grafted, because that knowledge that you're getting is tampered with.
You know what?
And you can tamper with every bit of information that comes out here and switch it out to your perspective. And that's the problem what's going on today.
That makes a lot of sense. My dad once told me, and I'm sure you heard this too, Lindsay. When I would talk to him about things, he would say a sentence: "Consider the source." That's one of his like maxims.
Exactly.
Consider the source. And if I
Absolutely.
said certain things, he would say, reconsider the source. There's so many different viewpoints of a source. There is a right one in there. You just have to find it. It's always there, but there's so much like background noise and static and other nonsense that comes kind of flows over it. It's almost like looking for a needle in a stack of needles.
Well, and another thing that is tangent to like having goofy sources, like what I was speaking about is the information is so easy to get now. Like I come from like a time, and I hate sounding like that, but I come from a time where there really was no internet. So what I'm saying is there's a whole, and this is what I was saying about the internet has made a lot of fools. It's a very helpful thing, super duper. But when I say it made a lot of fools, you can go on your phone now and there's people making hundreds of thousands of dollars that really, in my opinion, aren't teachers. Like you and people could just go on here and just, they'll see something, and if it sounds good to you, then it's right to you. You had to want that. That's a whole different type of person than somebody who could sit in their bed and have an argument with you, then go home and eat their bacon sandwich and look stuff up on their phone and then try to come back to you like they did something.
Would you say it made
It's different.
Would you say, I agree, would you say it made them appreciate the knowledge and information more, right? Because they had to work to get it, and they had to
Exactly.
actually
The
journey had a destination.
When you work for something, it hit
Yeah,
different.
you appreciate it more. It's a great segue. The two of you have built empires over the last 30 years. The two of you, two parallels, both from Long Branch, and it made me so happy as a person to see two of my OGs, and I use that OG term with a lot of love because everybody has OGs. Everybody does. No matter who you are, white, black, polka dot, whatever, male, female, in between. You always have someone, an OG, meaning someone that you look up to in some way. It could be anything. The two of you, I met you when I was a young buck, a real young buck. And I met you 15 years ago just in passing. But to see the two of you build up empires in your own right is inspiring.
I can dig it.
Thank you for digging it. Like,
I can dig it.
I tell you though, I feel like you call it an empire. I call it just doing what you love to do. If you ever have the opportunity to do something that you love to do, that's your empire. No matter what kind of money you make out of it, it doesn't matter. Because the main thing that matters is that in your heart, it's the best possible thing that you could create, and it gives you life, and it makes you go and thrive to be better at it and keep doing what you love to do without having to answer to somebody else. You just created your own peace. And that is more important than any empire, to live at peace at all times, to have a better understanding of what you created, and know that when you reach out and touch somebody else, it made them a better person. So what is more stronger than that? I don't see nothing stronger than that. I don't care how much money you have, because money don't bring happiness. Love and peace bring happiness. And that's why they coincide with each other. When you say love, peace, and happiness, they go together.
The last 3
as
degrees
one.
in the 12 joules.
Yep.
all right, so George, so to keep going into that conversation, what was your name? What was the name that was bestowed upon you?
Supreme Ruler, great God Allah.
Supreme Ruler, great God Allah. Now, so how do you? Okay.
How do you pick your attribute?
How do you pick your attribute? How do you pick your attribute?
Well, I think that was the coolest.
Or
One of the coolest
you
things.
got to say, how did he?
Yeah.
Because
Okay. No, I mean
you know what I'm
him,
saying?
you, anyone that's gonna.
Well, I just don't want, I'm always interject when it comes to this nation, because what I want to make clear is how he got this knowledge and who he got it from and how it was done isn't the set stone way for the nation. I just want to make that clear before he speaks about how his journey is, or
Okay.
was, should I say. Peace, Almighty.
I'm asking questions to learn. You know.
So.
So this is, if I say something that's worded wrong, please
no,
correct
no.
me. Yeah, let me know what's going on.
Everybody has
Help-
a different way of
Help me to see the
trying to
see
come
the
about
right
that
way.
understanding.
Yeah,
It's not your fault.
I respect-
that's the way you flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
Okay, that's fair.
everybody's different.
So how did you arrive at that attribute?
Well, I mean, when
Yeah,
you're
George, take us back 9,000 years.
yeah,
9,000 years.
well, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, and I'll be honest with you.
Take your time, sir.
When I became a Mason, and I went through all the rituals, not trying to throw anything out in the air or anything, but when you pick a name for yourself, you want to pick the best part, as he was talking about earlier. What better describes you? What better puts you in a better description for other people to understand where you're coming from? You know, you got to think about the name that you're going to give yourself now. When you're born, you're given a name, okay? Now, that name is picked by your mother.
Okay.
This is the name you pick for yourself to
your
explain what you are
Okay.
and what you want to be in this world.
What defines you as a person?
Exactly.
Okay.
To me, being God, supreme ruler, I'm the supreme ruler of myself. I don't try to tell anybody else what's going to be the best part for them. But as for me, I want to be the best me, so that when I'm talking to somebody and I'm getting interactions with them, they see that I'm coming from a good part of life.
Sheik, what about you? How did you arrive at?
Oh, I'm a guest now. Okay. This is new. This is new. All right. Well, the science for me really is I got knowledge of self August 5th, 1989 at 15 years old. That's how in tune I am with my arrival of being me. So I can still remember to this day looking for a name. I was a child. You know what I'm saying? I was very intrigued by this knowledge and this information because I was a child who grew up around religion. You know what I'm saying? My grandparents, I was in between two households. Both households ran by my grandparents. Try to make this story short as possible. And my father's parents were from Augusta, Georgia, Sparta, Georgia, and they were very, very into God and Jesus. I don't really want to necessarily say religious because I've never seen my grandparents go to church a day in their life. And, you know, I've even asked them before, and they was like, oh, church up here is a fashion show.
Okay.
That was what they said to me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But they were, you would think that they ran the church, how hard they went for God, how often you had to pray over every meal. Everything was about God. I probably know songs about God that you never even heard of. You feel me? And I still know them to this day. But through all of that, as a child, I just was like, you know, and I got to say this respectfully because, you know, if somebody's into religion, I just was like, it never made sense to me. I mean, at a very young age, I used to look at things and be like, well, if God loves everybody, why do children die? Like, I just always had questions. And the more questions I had, the more I started stumbling to, that's blasphemous. I'm asking too many questions, almost like children should be seen and not heard. So at the end of the day, there was a point in my young life where I just was like, ain't no such thing as God. Like that's who I was and that's how I was, because a lot of things just didn't make any common sense to me. I always had common sense. And common sense to me is God, because G-O-D, good orderly direction. I always had it. You feel me? So back to my name, I was looking through Supreme Mathematics, Supreme Alphabets. I was 15 now. I'm trying to find a name that just sounded the hottest to me. So to simplify it, that's how I really came into the season of my name. Now, back to what I was saying, picking my name was like everything to me. What I meant by that is everything that I was ever introduced to in my life, you're always a child at the first stage of it, even if you're a grown man. Just like with the bullies. When I started breeding dogs, this particular dog, because me and George have bred dogs together. But 2019, I probably would have chosen different dogs. And I don't want to say this, sorry, Griselda and Savannah, because I love my babies. But what I'm saying is, with the knowledge that I had over time, I probably would have picked 2 different dogs. You know what I'm saying? For the vision that I had. So, excuse me, I say that to say this. When I chose this name, Born Asiatic Luminous 7 Allah, mind you, my name has changed from there because I was a young man. My name changed a couple times, but it was always Born Asiatic. I was young. So therefore, my name still is me, right? Because it's hard for me to not to be born, being that born means to be complete. But anything that you do at the beginning of a season obviously will change when the season changes. So meaning that you are a child in every situation or every endeavor that you take in when you first do it, even if you're a grown man, because you're new to it. So sometimes, and I want to say this to the listeners, anything that you arrive at, that you get into, take your time with it and experience it so that you can make a decision based on being there for a while. You know what I'm saying? No decision has to be made immediate except for decisions that have to be made immediate.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Someone once told me life is about stages and ages.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense? Because,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Like, I am a very impulsive person with certain things. Like, when I like it and I want it, I'm like this with it. And sometimes you gotta slow down in order to create, just like everything else. Sometimes you gotta slow it down in order to solidify it. If you got water and you speed it up, it becomes gas. If you
steam for the engine.
If you slow it down, it's back to water. If you slow it down now, it's ice. So if you want to solidify and crystallize your thoughts, and you want them to be at its wholeness, you got to slow down so you can solidify that. You feel me?
I can dig it.
I can dig it.
I can
slow
dig
it down. You feel me?
I definitely. Right now, there's a show on TV called Dark Matter, and both of you guys.
I heard of that. Never seen it though.
I read the book. Blake Crouch is the author, and the book is basically about a guy who creates this cube that it almost like opens up the tesseract of like dimensional. Dimensional
like a portal.
planes. Exactly. So it's like it's not different times; it's the same time, just infinite
realities of that time.
Realities right there. So you're not going in time.
It's a multiverse.
Correct. So it's like, let's just say in another multiverse, you left the barber game alone and went with the bullies, or vice versa. You could look at all those things at the same time, just opening doors. I kind of
see, but all those doors are here. The multiverse has always been in here.
Okay.
In your mind. You can open up any door you want at any given time just using your brain. And they only now are trying to throw it out in the air to everybody. Oh, the multiverse this, multiverse that. No, the multiverse has always been and always will be right here. This is the birthplace of it. And everybody has it.
Absolutely.
The doors you choose to open up.
Yeah.
Are the ones that slip you into that matrix, though. You have to be careful. Just like he was saying, when you overthink, you lose time, valuable time, when you should be using that time to create that which you love and make that a part of your whole reality, your multiverse. Just like everybody else thinks they can slip from one verse to the other, the most important verse is the one you open up for yourself.
I agree with you 100%. I honestly, personally think that now that I'm older, the most valuable commodity to me, like everyone says, it's your health or time. For me, it's time, because no matter how rich you are, no matter how wealthy,
can't buy time.
You can get better health treatments. You can speed things up, but you can't buy time. That's why the richest man on earth could also be the poorest man on earth, judging by the way he lives or has chosen to live, the choices he made. Like we said, the stages and ages. What choice did he make to get here? What did he do to his family? What did he do to his business? What did he do to his business partners? Time is infinite, but according to us, it's very finite. It's like the grains of sand, and you don't get to turn over that hourglass again. So you have to do the best with what you have during that time. The time is the most precious commodity to me.
Okay, so back when we were talking about the picture of Jesus, it was Caesar Borgia.
Gorgeous, yeah.
That's supposed to be the son of Pope Alexander. And apparently he had Michelangelo paint all the images of the Black Christ in Europe to keep slaves suppressed.
Black Christ in Europe. He painted a black Christ to keep slaves oppressed? Yeah. That sounds ridiculous.
No, not. The Black Christ was to be replaced with that Jesus. That's what she meant. I don't want you to get it confused. That's all where you was going
George.
with it.
Yes, yeah.
But
No,
no,
say,
it was
let me
actually
know.
the other way around.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say that sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, if you think that way, it definitely was ridiculous.
But when it comes down to that, we need like 4 episodes to go
Yeah,
into
there
all
ain't
that.
enough time to jump on that subject.
Let me tell you, when it comes down to changing what something looks like, ooh, man, there's so many things that look like me but more brown with wider noses.
Yo, it's crazy
in the
that
universe.
we just talked about this the other day, Sheik.
I am
on social
I'm
media.
a Dravidian Indian. You ask about me.
So we're here, George, in your shop. How did we arrive here with tattooing? Because it's different now for you. Like back in those days, tattooing wasn't as like widespread a thing.
It wasn't popular back when I first started doing it, that's for sure. And the thing is that it was almost like like a beautiful hidden secret, you know what I'm saying? Because there wasn't so many people in your business about it, you know what I'm saying? It was very secretive. It was like it was almost like its own whole society, you know? And by my meaning of that is that the culture of tattooing has changed a lot over the years, and that's through media and all the different outlets, magazines, you name it, made it into this super thing. And I never knew that it was going to turn into something like that, because I just did it because I love doing it. But when it turned into that super thing, it changed.
Yeah, it's like everything else that's art. Clowns get a hold of it and turn it into a revenue source.
Yeah.
Even though it's supposed to be a revenue source, but you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like once the clowns get it.
It starts getting watered down.
Yeah. Because, the whole purpose behind getting a tattoo is you're trying to search for, like, a symbol, a meaning to something in your life that's a constant reminder to you yourself of the time you spent on this planet. And over the years, people get many tattoos, but not all of them are symbols. Some of them get it as a fad thing. Some of them get it as just, trying to copy something that somebody else has. You got to understand, when you get stuff like that, it doesn't have the same meaning as it does when you're going through it, when you're in love, or when you're in pain, or when you trying to celebrate something in your life that really meant something to you. And that's what I feel has been taken away from the tattoo world, is that feeling of, that drive to make you want to actually do it. Not to copy someone, but to really, really have a real connection to that marking. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I mean, tattooing has been around since the times of Egypt. But you got to understand,
Yeah.
there was a way smarter society way before the caveman.
Yes.
Okay.
You talking about
So if you really want to go into it,
there was a smarter society while the caveman existed.
exactly.
Are you talking about
exactly?
like before, like in the time of like Atlantis and stuff like that? And
There
like
was different
ancient
levels to
civilization?
everything in this world, everything in this planet.
Like the people who built the pyramids. You're saying like the true builders of the pyramids.
The true builders of the pyramids, and before the pyramids.
No. Okay. Are you familiar with the Younger Dryas?
No.
So the Younger Dryas event, while Lindsay is looking up this information.
What period was this?
So the Younger Dryas theory is that Earth 12,600 years ago passed through a gigantic comet, a gigantic comet that was passing through the solar system, and we went through the debris field, and the impacts were so catastrophic that there were advanced civilizations, to your point, but they were all wiped out because of these massive asteroid impacts, and that made us reset the cycle. And that's why it's commonly referred to like Egypt is like the oldest civilization, but it's really not. It goes back a lot farther, but because the Younger Dryas happened 12,600 years ago, for the next 6,000 years we had to start over. That's a fascinating subject, and I honestly think that there's some truth to that.
Honestly, the
may be.
Egyptian civilization being the oldest, you got to think anything they teach you in school definitely ain't the oldest.
True.
You know what I mean? Like,
True.
that's what school be bringing to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? School is crazy.
It is. It is.
School is crazy.
But so that's, I agree with you 100% that there were more. This isn't. We would have been more advanced had it not been for that event, and that's just if you subscribe to it. But there were more advanced civilizations, like the Anunnakis. I know
Yeah,
you're.
you
I know
taking
you're.
it back.
Yep, I know you're familiar with them. I'm sure you're familiar with them. Like, they were very, very proficient in like the solar system, and they knew where the planets were. So how did they not know that without
listen,
how did they
man,
know that with no telescopes or
They
anything?
were the giants. They the one that created the grafted man.
Exactly. If
You know what I'm
if
saying?
you subscribe to that
Ideology.
ideology, yeah. But so wait, Lindsay, when was the earliest tattoos?
So for earliest tattoos, it's saying some date as far as like 5,000 BCE or older. They talk about in tombs in Japan, but also absolutely like in Egypt. What was that? What is it?
Some of them tattoos probably is not even in the flesh; it's in the bone. That's why they can still find it.
Yeah. What?
Right?
What are you trying?
No, I was
That's how they got down. You know?
yeah, it was saying like in
He had a heavy hand. Whoever tattooed them. Like,
George was
heavy. Yeah, I was gonna say George. I was like, George, this is your great grandpappy.
You know what? I knew that was gonna come up
Yeah,
with
like,
y'all.
yeah,
So
like,
when they say the oldest known.
Listen, man,
Does
my
George
stuff
have a
don't
heavy
come off.
hand? They call George Berto Durand. Like, his hands of
listen.
stone. Like,
Listen,
hands of-
I never forget when I was about to get my back tattoo, and I told Fat Nasty George was going to do it. He said, "Listen, he did mine, God. He did mine, God. You just better get ready."
Hey, man, rest
I've
in
been
peace.
rest in
Fat
peace, Fat
Nasty.
Nasty. I definitely have
Yo.
been. I've definitely
Yeah,
been.
That's my guy.
In terms of, I remember one time George was tattooing my side, and I guess he saw a look on my face. He was like, "You know, we're gonna wrap this up because you looking like baked macaroni right now. It's over for you." And I was like, "All right, like,
But you
let's
know
wrap
what?
this up."
For
Like,
me-
but I always sat through them though. I
For
never
me, it
got up.
It wasn't that bad. He put luminous on my back, and the letters are like this freaking big. But you know what I'm saying? My back probably like this thick too.
Yeah, that's
You feel me?
But
I was like, oh man, this is serious.
I had a man earlier today come in, and he was I guess of Egyptian origin, and he got tattooed with a cross on his hand when he was 6 years old. Because all the children over there that are Christian, that's how they mark them when they're babies, with the cross if they're of Christian, religion. See, but that means a lot to me because, even though they were in Egypt, and that is not, common for an Egyptian person to wear a cross, because that's not their symbol. You know what I mean? That's not their origin. But that goes to show you how when people they adopt a way of life from people who are come in and give them something different, something they never heard of before, and they want to have a better understanding of it. But that's how deep their dedication was to understand that. Even though it wasn't a part of what they were naturally, evolving from, they chose that to learn and pass on to their, generations. You know what I'm saying? Well, it could have meant a lot more than that. They were probably trying to save their children, knowing that these people were coming to take them over. And if they didn't revert, to that, they fear for their child's life. Think about it like that.
That's a powerful.
But you got to look at it like this as well. Like Christians went to war with each other, and Constantine ended up, at the top of that whole entire thing. You know what I'm saying? Because there were so many different forms of Christianity, and then the original cross that Constantine said he saw in a vision in his dream the night before they went to war, that they painted on the front of their shields, wasn't really like the lowercase t. It was like that thing that went like that type cross.
I never saw that before.
Take it.
Constantine T, a cross. I've never seen that before.
That was on their shields, that they put on their shields from a vision that he had prior to going to war.
I never.
Is that it?
The Constantine cross. Mm-hmm. That's what comes up.
Yeah, for a shield, right?
On their shields, but what I'm talking about is not that image.
It's from the Crusades.
The Coptic cross is what you're referring.
You know what I'm talking about. It's like shaped like that.
Coptic. Coptic. Coptic.
You know what I'm talking about?
The one that you're kind of describing to me is almost like the Ethiopian cross.
Okay. What's the Ethiopian cross? Is it like a different?
That's not it. Punch in Ethiopian cross.
Ethiopian cross.
Can you see that?
It's like a.
Oh yeah, that's the Knights Templar cross.
Oh
That's
yeah. That's from the Crusades.
Yep.
That's from the Crusades. Okay.
What
So you were a graffiti artist as well, right?
were?
Yeah. Still am.
Still am. Can I ask you a question? How do people get up there on all these crazy like places and
you talking
do
about
these huge-
taggers, man. You talking about the most dastardly devils that ever created, man.
Okay.
Spitting them.
Yeah, like how do they
I'm
get up?
talking about dudes who have no fear and are willing to take their life in their hands so that people could read their name, man.
Man, how do you get
Man,
up there
there's
and do
ways
that?
to get anywhere you want, man.
I was gonna say, and it's not days. They go get that done.
Some of those guys are hanging
one
from
time.
ropes. They
How do they get up on billboards? They just get up there and do it?
They daredevils,
figure it
man.
out.
No, well, billboards you can actually climb. You can get up there, no
but
problem.
like building structures,
Listen, man, these
they
guys
hang from ropes like ninjas?
Man, let me tell you something. These guys are mountain climbers, bro. They will, if there's a means and a way to get up in some location that can't nobody touch, they will get there.
Have you ever done something like that?
Have I? No, I love my life too much. Man.
Okay. Okay, you've never
Listen,
done okay.
I want people to see my stuff, but not at the cost of my life.
Let me
Fair
tell
enough.
you something that I seen, and I was trying to figure out how the hell did they get up there. I was going to a dog show in Ohio in 2021, traveling through Pennsylvania. And you know how when you riding through and they got all of those freaking like rocks, almost like those mountain
Yeah.
things. Yo, like high as hell, like right in the middle of the rocks, like where it looks like only a billy goat could make it there.
There was tags.
It wasn't tags. Guess what? It was spray painted up there, like real perfect, just like the text that he uses for all of his things.
Where was this?
In Pennsylvania.
Was it Philadelphia
It
Eagles?
said Trump,
I knew it.
but it wasn't what it said. It was like, who the hell? It was the
How'd they get
exact
here?
font. How the hell did they get there?
I think that shows how wild the world is today, too, right?
Super
how,
wild, man.
Yeah, how crazy and like bonkers Twilight Zone the world
Hey,
is
that's
today.
why they brought back Mad Max. They know what's going on.
Kitty. We're trending in that we're trending in that direction too. You know what I'm saying?
They
Like,
brought back Planet of the Apes, I think, for the same reason.
listen, I think Planet of the Apes. I
That's
actually
one of my favorite freaking movies.
I watched the new one, and it's very like it's almost like a satire.
Don't.
I'm not gonna tell you.
Don't tell me either.
I'm not gonna tell you. but
Don't tell me, because that's the one I've been waiting for right
Nah.
there.
Me too.
I watched the old '70s ones recently, and I had to get past.
I used to watch those live.
Well, let me tell you something right now.
They had
This is the thing. This
they had
is the
shags and shit.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you what my first thing about that was, and I want to know what you guys think about this. So I was watching the second Planet of the Apes. It was called Beneath the Planet of the Apes. It was 1970.
Oh yeah. They had the nuclear,
Yeah.
nuclear bomb down
And so this is what I thought. Are there? How do I put this? Are there like You know, like, are there like black apes and Spanish apes and like Chinese apes?
Are they just apes?
Are they just everyone's ape? Like, like, do you ever go to like, this is Harlem?
You
so
know
all the
what
apes
though?
are gonna
No,
be
no, no. You're
Or do you go to
absolutely.
Asia and all the
you're-
apes are this?
I mean,
You're
well, they
absolutely
did have
correct. You're
chimpanzees,
absolutely correct.
gorillas.
so that's the equivalent.
I don't know.
You know what? I think the apes say the same thing about us.
Oh, so that's a deep. You going deep right now, pause. Like, cause I
You're
was
like,
watching,
damn.
I was watching the
These
beginning.
monkeys look crazy as hell. They're all kinds of shit.
I wonder if there's
I wonder if there's a chimpanzee man.
chimpanzee people.
Is there a gorilla man? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, man, like I was watching it and I'm like, first of all, I gotta get past like the masks and them ape masks were kind of, you could tell they was kind of wonky.
They were October
They were
31st.
They were
Yeah.
the
hell.
the special effects were October 31st.
As hell.
Planet of the Apes, even back then, was a great satire of the world, and even the new movies are fantastic with like the ideals of humanity and like the evils of humanity. They show you the best parts of humanity in ape form, like the polar opposites and how they can interact and how they end up destroying each other based on their belief system.
That's why every movie is just like one long movie. It's just about what you like to see the personality in the most. If you look at
There you go.
the Planet of the Apes, Koba is the same person as Megatron. Megatron is the same person as the dude from Black Panther, Michael Jordan. Like all of the bad guys
Are ideological.
they're all the same.
They're all ideological.
Lion King.
Scar from the Lion King, yeah.
Magneto.
Magneto.
Like,
They're all ideological.
all of them have compromised mental health from something that they went through.
So that's why I think that like the reality lies more towards the middle, and that's where maybe there's always three sides to a story. There's the right one, the wrong one, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. I kind of feel like that's the
But every
bottom line of
character in
that.
the movie, when it comes to the character that ends up, for lack of better words, being the bad guy, they always melting pot every single person from their one experience.
true. And I kind of feel like we do that as people as well, like to a certain extent. Like,
Some people do.
yeah.
I think it happens with everybody, you know. Even if like especially during tattooing too, you know that you bring somebody up in the game. Eventually, they want to take over the game.
That's human nature.
They get tired of being like
They want to be king of the
yes,
jungle.
they don't want to be the assistant or the friend or the partner or anything. They want to be the boss. And that's just the evolution altogether, man. Everybody wants to be the boss at a certain given time. But there's protocol. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you don't establish protocol ahead of time, then that you always leave yourself open to be taken over so they could be king,
Fair
it
enough.
moves on. The older you get, the better they get, the more they're going to want to take over. And that's something that's, since the beginning of the time, we always going to deal with that. It's always going to be a process.
I agree with that. It's again, that's man's nature. When it comes to tattooing, do you feel like it's easier to be a leader or just lead by example? Because I feel like those are two different things.
Honestly, I believe there's a time for everything. There's a time to
fair.
teach, and then there's a time to stop teaching.
That's fair.
And at this given point in time in my life, I would say that the business is oversaturated, but I feel like it's oversaturated by a lot of watered down people who didn't learn it the right way, who felt that, I got this little taste, now I'm gonna blow it up and do it my way. But meanwhile, they didn't take enough time to learn it the right way first, Like, you were so stuck on themselves that they thought that, no, they had the brand new way, and the brand new way is the only way, and da-da-da-da-da. Not for everybody. Some people like the way it's been done, you know what I'm saying? And when you think you're the say-all, be-all, you stop learning.
Absolutely.
Because now you're not accepting any other style. You're not accepting any other better way, or for that matter, you're taking something that was a gift, and you chose to only take this little part. It's the real quick satisfaction that people take, to that adrenaline rush of that instant gratification.
Okay.
And they feel like, I got it, I don't need to learn anybody else, they're gonna love me, You know,
Of course.
never stop learning. That's all I got to say. Never stop.
That's the ego.
Yeah.
But do you have was there any time you had a tattoo that you refused to do? I always ask
Oh, of course. Well,
what was it? If you don't, I mean, you don't have to name any
there's
names.
a trick to it. There's a trick to it. I'll show you.
I don't. What's the trick? Ah,
That's good. Thank
That's-
you, sir.
Harambe.
Look.
I said there's a little.
ah,
Straight down, yeah.
Master Sifu.
Master Seafood.
I always call him
I
Master
drinks
Sifu.
this.
Let's see if you can do it, Lindsay.
Probably. Does it matter how old you are?
He's almighty God.
There you go.
Okay.
She learns quick.
Oh, you can learn something from everyone.
Look
you just learned. So now you've made friends with a Sheik and a Sifu.
I have.
You're amongst good company, Lindsay. So what tattoos did you refuse to do? You don't have to name any names, but
You know, I don't do private parts, and I stray away from the faces unless somebody's like pretty much full blown. And by full blown, I mean somebody who's already has a profession,
okay,
and is already
it's not gonna
in their
affect them.
own
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they don't. It's not going to affect their livelihood.
Yeah.
That's different, you know. And I have a lot of friends like that being in the business.
Okay.
But if you ain't in the business and it's not a part of you and you still struggling trying to make it, I won't tattoo your face. I'm not going to put something on you that I know that you're going to regret, especially if you ain't got it all together, because you are going to be outcast.
It's a fact.
You know?
You gonna let me get that face tat?
You good. Yeah, you was
okay.
you established you a success.
So
Finna
you're
get
gonna
one.
do the so after this you're gonna do the Mike Tyson tribal.
I think I'm
Oh,
gonna
this
get
is-
like a little 7 right here, like
That would,
pop,
be,
pop,
that would
pop.
actually be kind of dope.
And
but-
just, spin off into the night.
I mean,
You feel me?
This
That's
year will be
wild to me.
35 years I'll be tattooing.
So
35
he's seen
years.
it all.
Yep, I've seen it all.
did you start in the shop?
I didn't start here.
Where'd you start?
I started at home. I actually within my after my first year tattooing, I got a call from Gene from Body Art World in Asbury Park, and he was the one that gave me my first shot. And rest in peace. And
R.I.P. That's where I got my first tattoo.
and I was lucky enough to be able to know him and know his character, because that man, no matter what anybody says about him, everybody loved him and everybody respected him, and he was a whole he was a whole show. Like, this was a biker shop, okay? So you can only imagine the insanity that ensued in this place. I seen everything you could think of, man. Drug deals, shootings, everything, bro. People jump out boys running through the shop chasing people, like the craziest thing you could even imagine.
While they were getting tattooed?
While I'm tattooing and I'm looking and seeing people running through the shop
I wonder
chasing
how
people
those
down.
tattoos turned out. Have been like,
Listen.
Hey, man, you just listen.
Hey, look.
You learn how to mind your business.
Right.
I got my first tattoo done at Jeans when I was 18 by Tommy. You remember Tommy?
Tommy, yeah, still good friends. I'll show you some pictures, man. How he looks
Tommy.
right now. Hold up.
So
Tommy did my shit.
so when did you come to here, to where we are now?
To here now?
Yeah.
Well, Gene, when I was working with him, you know, we were close, man. We really got along really well, and you know, when I chose to move on, I was actually working at one of his shops in Toms River. When I came back after I left that shop, because I went back to work butchering, because I was making good money, but I couldn't buy a house. I couldn't do a lot of things because I couldn't prove how I was making this money. So what I had done was I went back to work as a butcher, and I was doing the tattooing part-time at night. So once I established myself, showing that I could make enough money to afford a house, you know, that's when I went back, you know, to Gene's, yeah, and I started working for him for a little while again, and then eventually I wanted to open up my own shop. You know what I'm saying? So, but out of respect, I went to Gene and I told him what I planned to do, and he said, you're the only one that came back and asked my permission to open up, because a lot of the other guys that I was working with, they just did it. They didn't show him the respect, he was due, and he respected that, man.
Why do you think respect is at an all-time low? Just in general,
because everybody wants to be the captain of the ship, man.
Because that's the culture of the country.
Yep. Everybody wants to be the captain of the ship, man.
That's the culture of the country. You watch the presidential debate between two old men hacking on each other, acting like fools on national television, trying to run a country, and that says it all.
Right.
But you see,
a ship of fools is what.
This is what the thing. This is what they're showing the whole world, though. They're not just showing the people of America. Everybody in the whole world is seeing that fiasco. You got two idiots talking like idiots to each other, and they're supposed to be the new leaders of the free world. That worries me more than anything in this world. Having two idiots fighting over the top position of this here free world, so to say, when we all just slaves here. Because the way I'm looking at it, everything done gone up except for what I'm making. Food, fuel, everything that we need to live and survive is going up, and these two idiots are acting like two kids in the schoolyard for who's going to take the biggest piece of pie.
Two people that, if you add their ages together, is over 160.
I know, and that's the scary
That's who
part
run
of
the
it.
planet.
Yeah, two people that are completely out of
Who's
touch.
trying
in
to-
their
Acting
own-
like they're 5 years old in the schoolyard.
One person trying to divide people through race, and another person telling a race that you ain't black if you don't vote for me. That was his selling point to black people.
You got to choose between that.
You got to
It's
choose between that.
It's a crazy time we live in for sure, and that
you
just
ain't
makes
black if you don't vote. Just think how crazy that shit sound.
I know, and
you
then
not
you got
black
another.
if you ain't vote for me.
Then you got another guy who literally said, "Hey, black people, what the hell do you got to lose?" Like,
who,
for
who
two.
who got the better enticing statement? What do you have to lose? And you ain't black if you don't vote for me.
Yeah, I have.
That's how they came for us.
Yeah, I gotta definitely go. I definitely go over 2.
I gotta laugh at that.
We're living
one.
in we're a lot closer to that book 1984 than we give ourselves credit for, and I think it's like we always talk about the Matrix. It's like, yeah, we're plugged in. Like I feel like we're being led astray or run amok or what a hoodwinked, and what like Brother Malcolm said years ago. Like I feel like we are, and you have to keep your eyes open at all times, and it's harder to do than ever.
You got to keep your eye open. Your two physical eyes always is gonna be
That's a
open.
fact. Yeah,
unless
you
you
keep
did. You gotta keep that third eye open.
Third eye.
And
Yeah.
good luck with that with the average person.
Yeah, no,
You
it's
know what I'm
definitely
saying?
tough.
It's not hard. It's not hard for these guys to rule.
Yeah, no, it's we live in such crazy times, and it just makes me value the people that I cherish even more.
Well, before you close out, let me say this. Let me get my last thought off. Because I always want the people to just, hear
Sure.
different perspectives, and don't we're sitting here and we're speaking about, it's getting scary. Listen, don't be scared. Don't be afraid. Don't live in fear. Just be wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't live in fear. Live in consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Because it can sound mad scary, but always remember, like George said earlier, all they want to find out is what you're afraid of, and then that's when you lose. So don't be scared. Scared is corny.
I agree with that, and it's like you said, Sheik. And
Just be wise.
You said that
I'm outside.
you can be of the world, but not in the world.
Yeah, you can
You
be
know?
of it, but you don't have to be in it.
Yeah.
You
So
know what I'm saying?
worlds are
Because-
things that you create, so you can create your
Absolutely.
own world. You don't have to be in this town. You could move. You could do it. Yeah, I agree. We
Yo,
do
you
live
could-
in tumultuous
you could,
times.
You could
but
not
can
be
do that.
here. Shaka Khan don't live in the United
I get-
States. You
All-
feel me?
all right.
She spun off. Shaka Khan. She said, "I'm out of here." You did. Don't live in the box they put you in. Be the box.
George, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking time out of your existence to share that time with the Sheik and I.
I see you guys went through a lot of trouble to make this happen, so I appreciate you coming over here and
We appreciate you.
sharing your time with me and being able to build with you guys and add on to the cipher, so to say, and
Peace.
be a part of your world.
I'm really happy that we were able to do this, and I would love to, I would love to say that the Sheik and I would enjoy having you on again at a different time,
Oh, I'd
different
love
date,
to.
different place.
Yeah, sure.
And continuing these conversations, because anytime that three intellectual individuals come together, nothing but positivity can come from it. So
True.
I appreciate being able to sit here and talk to you, and then learn from the two of you guys today. So to kind of like go third view, thank you, George, and thank you, Sheik, for being. Thank you two for being you.
Absolutely.
Hey, listen, I hope it's a pleasure to your listeners to be able to hear from real people from a neighborhood.
How do the people find you on social media?
You can catch me on Instagram, 1ST tattoo, TAT number 2.
Okay.
I do have it private because there's a lot of weirdos out there. I hate to say it,
I
but
like that.
there's just a lot of weirdos out there. I'll accept you if I see that you're not a weirdo.
You know what? It's like Machiavelli said, the theory of availability. It's all about availability.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I want to be available to everybody, but some people ain't
can't be.
right in the head.
Okay.
So like if you're interested about getting a tattoo, message me. I'll be more than happy to talk to you. I ain't got no problems with that. If we can do something, we can do something. But I like my privacy with my special people and people that care about life and love and happiness. Those are the ones I want to be talking to.
That's how it should be.
That's fire.
Again, George, thank you for joining the Sheik and I. And we
Thank
wish
you. It was my pleasure.
We wish you peace and blessings, sir.
Thank you. Sheik.
All the world.
Yo,
Thank you.
this was so special to me. You have no idea. Like we both
We're
locked
glad
in.
to do it.
And I'm gonna tell you
glad
something.
to do it. Very glad to do it.
I'm
But
gonna tell you
hold on,
something.
Let me do this. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Ransom Report. Sheik, what happened to peace?
Peace.
This program is brought to you by the good folks at What's the Movement, LLC.
All right, we got it. That's what's up. Listen, this man right here, I respect so much, and we both as business owners don't get the chance to be around like-minded minds.
And just relax and talk.
Exactly. Like this is a peaceful thing for me. This is love right here.
I'm very happy.
Now-
This whole thing has made me very happy.
Yeah,
Very
but
happy.
it's good that you have this venue to explore different ideas, different thoughts,
Yes, sir.
and to be able to express it over a large area. You
Yes,
guys are going to be heard around the world. People are going to just fall on it and just jump in and get interested in what people are talking about, and it's gonna strike a light in their head and be like, wow, there's a different way of thinking. There's a different way of collecting yourself, your thoughts, and thinking before you say something. And a lot of times people speak before they think, and this is what causes a lot of problems in the world. Always think before you say something, and always have in mind what that person's going to feel when you say those words, because you can't take words back. Once you let them out, they're out there.
Yeah, words will
So,
kill you quicker than any gun.
Quick. Well, let me tell you something, and it's killed a lot of people quick too.
Yeah.
But that's why you got to take everybody that you're speaking to within your circumference, what their thoughts would be from the words that come out of your mouth, because words are powerful. That's why they call it spelling, because it's a spell that you put on people.
Spells, yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
Yes, sir.
Can't spell.
I heard a great sentence once. It's like, you don't have to necessarily respect everyone. Just don't disrespect anyone.
Well,
Yeah,
that's what it.
how I-
And I
Listen,
say
that
this:
is
once knowledge is born, it's infinite.
it. Yep.